I'm in. There is a dial-in number, so if you're not getting the actual voice in the original email that you received for registering, there is a dial-in number in there. Should be a 408 number with a passcode. All right. Well, it's 1:02, so we'll get started. Thanks everybody for coming. It is our second installment of this networking opportunity. So lots of great discussion this last go around, and hopefully some new different insight coming this time. We found the best way to get through this is really to mute yourselves, and as we have discussion, unmute to join in the conversation. If you have something and you feel like you're stepping on other people's toes, you can put it in the chat box. We are monitoring the chat box as well to bring up new topics as well as engage on current ones. So I might mention you or call on you. Let's do our best to see if we can add value to everybody in the room. My name is Brad Seaman from San Diego. If you haven't met me yet, I'd love to meet you in person or on a phone call, Zoom call these days. I think I was saying earlier, I've met about 70% of you in one way, shape, or form, but would love to get to know each and every one of you a little bit better. Started on this path about 2.5 years ago, putting BNI real estate agents across the country together, and it's been very successful for us. So hopefully we've connected some of you all together, and you've been able to pass business, whether you've been to a live event or just through the Facebook networking group. There's lots of opportunity to pass referrals here. So those of you just coming on, if you are not a member of our Facebook networking group, at the very top of the chat box, there's a link. Don't click on it at the moment, but make sure you copy it down and invite yourself to it at the very end, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'll start out. It's kind of interesting. We did one of these just a couple of days ago, and things are evolving daily, right? We've got lots of different things happening in each of our markets that are different. Anyone want to share what they're doing with their BNI chapters or adding value to others, and how they're supporting their teams and making sure that we connect, and also making sure that all of our needs are met? Anybody want to share?
Hi, my name's Jane Lau. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway in Palos Verdes, California. And we are starting our first Zoom meeting for BNI Thursday. And also we're having one-to-ones via Zoom, so that's been pretty interesting. And another thing that I did, I engaged our printer, and we're ordering backdrops for Zoom calls, since I think we're going to be this way for a month or two. So we're doing step and repeat with, what do you call it, with your logo. So that, I am at my office right now, which is empty, but at my home office, so instead of just having a wall with something behind it, I'll have my Berkshire Hathaway logo, step and repeat, in the whole background. And it's pretty reasonable, so I thought that might be a good idea, something I can use forever, but especially with Zoom calls when I'm, meeting potential clients, talking to sellers, or, networking with attorneys and things like that. At least it gives a little bit more of a professional touch. So that's one thing I'm doing.
Awesome, Jane. And I see Jerry on the call. He's got his virtual background as well. So for those of you looking for another solution, whether it's a step and repeat, or you can actually just upload an image if you've got a graphic designer to do a backdrop as well. So great idea. I love it, Jane. Who else? What else are you doing out there?
Well, yeah, Minho from Remax Alliance. I am also an educational coordinator in my chapter. So I took one of the advanced training, and it was kind of spot on, because the advanced training was telling people a different way to do your feature presentation. So instead of doing backdrops and stuff like that, just do more of a speaking where you're not reading and you're not using any slides. And this is actually one of the perfect timing for people. So what I shared was, your feature presentation is only 8 minutes long. So 2 minutes, your bio, just on you. Then you have 6 other minutes and 2 stories, 2 minutes per story. And at the end is your call to action. and how to refer you and what to listen to. So I just announced that last week, and I send that to everyone. If you guys would like to know, see the notes, I will happy to share it. Just leave a comment and your email.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
You know, in our situation, we just did, and this is Jeff, by the way, I'm EXP Realty in the Chicagoland area. We just did our first virtual one last Thursday, which went well, but I'm interested to see, we, because of our size, had just changed it to not 10-minute presentations, but 5-minute presentations. So it's really going to be interesting. You know, 10 minutes goes by just like that. You know, 5 minutes is going to be like an eye blink. Because otherwise we wouldn't get through our members, but, you know, once a year. So that was the idea, to try it, you know, 2 of them, 2 5 minutes every week instead of the 110. That was what we'd been doing all along. So I don't know if anybody else has had that experience or has any input on how I can maximize my whopping 5 minutes.
Mac?
So again, you know, if you only have 5 minutes, stick on one story, and then what to listen, like your introduction, your bio. Find someone with credibility to introduce you, someone that knows you. I guess you can make it 1 minute, and then just stick to your 1 or 2 story. And the most important is what to listen to and how to refer you.
We had our dry run last week, which was fantastic. Tomorrow, we're actually having 4 guests, which is going to be a test of both the visitor host breakout room, as well as, you know, keeping visitors' attention. But one thing we've been doing that's great is that we have been having power team meetings over Zoom. And this has worked so well that at least one of them wants to go to bi-weekly instead of monthly. So we're super excited, super hyped about that. As far as real estate's going here, I'll tell you that sellers are panicking. We have offer review dates generally, and they have been very elastic. If you can be very aggressive, if you represent a buyer, by calling the agent saying, I have an offer now, rather than waiting for the offer review date. And we may be in lockdown. So, and I have my own rental property coming up for sale. We'll see how it goes.
Mac, you're in Seattle, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just for reference. So Mac's in Seattle, and you're dealing with some of the more restrictive, like New York and California is starting to show up too, and more restrictive guidelines on what's actually happening.
And I want to hear all about it.
Hi, I'm Angie Campbell from Little Rock, Arkansas with Keller Williams. And you mentioned the 5-minute presentation. I don't know if you've talked yet on, if you're with Keller Williams, I'm not sure which company you were with, but we have a new app that's out. And so that's definitely something that could easily be fit into a 5-minute slot. You could send the link to the new app out ahead of time and let the members of your chapter download it. And then it's pretty easy to run through how to use it at that point. Actually, when I presented to my chapter a few weeks ago before all this happened, I have one under contract now that came strictly from that presentation. Somebody got on and started playing around on the app and found a property and ended up putting in an offer and getting it accepted. So that turned out to be a very profitable 10-minute presentation.
To see the direct impact is great. And anything technology based, right? Whether it's an app or anything that you're doing to change the way that you're doing real estate today in this market. I posted in the Facebook group about Matterport 3D tours that we're doing so that people can look at properties virtually, applications that they can use. We actually put 1.2 under contract today based on a 3D Matterport tour. They've never seen the house. So I don't know that that's going to be forever, but it's a great way to get ahead of it, at least in this market right now.
And then you also asked about how to bring value to the other members of your chapters. We've just been trying to figure out, okay, how can we promote them, whether it's on social media or whatever. We have a lady in our group that she's the catering coordinator for a restaurant in town, and obviously she's been pretty devastated because all her events are canceling. And so we've been really trying to encourage anybody that we know that might still be open to having delivery service to their business or whatever. We've just been sending out her information. They've gone to a limited menu since everything is a pick up and take out. And so we've sent out the menu, we posted it on social media. And so just really trying to especially try to order from each other and support each other's businesses and promote each other's businesses via social media.
Great.
Melissa in New York, Long Island. We're already shut down. A couple of interesting things have happened here that they are putting our days on market on hold. So at least the listings that we have will not continue tallying up days on market. As far as supporting your other members, our community has done a really cool thing, and it's really primarily targeted at restaurants, but we are ordering for the people who are working at the hospital. So we've started a Facebook group and web-based, and we can order, people can go in, donate money so that our local restaurants who have signed up, who will say they can deliver at a certain time, because the hospital is very, very stringent on the hours that the food can come in, but it will come in for shifts for the people coming into the hospital, and we're supporting our local restaurants that way as well.
Love that idea. It's great. And even if you have an additional layer of that is if you have a caterer in the group, I mean, what a way to, have bulk meals delivered to a hospital through donation. That'd be amazing.
Right, and the local people are paying for it. So you've got local people who are wanting to do something. So they're putting money in the till to pay the restaurant. So it's keeping the restaurant afloat, and it's also supplying our, and they're also doing first responders as well.
That's great. What else is going on out there?
We're about to have our first meeting tomorrow morning. And can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. So we're about to have our first meeting tomorrow morning. We're going to have a leadership team meeting today to kind of, you got 10 members that are on your leadership team. So we thought that would be a good trial run. We've also talked about, because we have a lot of members in our group that are effectively out of business. I'm in Reno, Nevada. Things have been pretty much shut down. All the realtors are working from home. Everything's pretty quiet. And so I think that once a week, we're going to talk about using Zoom to have a round table, because most of us do have a lot of time on our hands, and really just talk about how can we support each other? How can I help our caterer who's out of business? What kind of ideas might I have for him? And share different ideas through a round table. I know that I'm going through and calling all my clients right now and my whole database just to reach out to people to see how things are going, and I'm getting a great response. And so that is something I would share in that round table, and I think it's going to be something that's really good for us.
That's great. What are you doing in your databases right now? What calls are you making? What interactions are you having, and what are you hearing back from your clients?
Client I called today is a gal that her and her business partner are clients of mine multiple times over. They were 2 weeks out from opening a brand new restaurant. 60 days ago, they opened they'll have 3 restaurants. So they had one. 60 days ago, they opened a second one, and then they're just beginning of April, we're going to open a 3rd one, and they're effectively out of business. So I called her today. I called one of the partners today, and she said, it's just so good to hear someone's voice. She wanted to hear a voice. So what I'm doing is sorry, this is hard for a lot of my clients. The first day I made calls, it was awful because people are out of work completely. Yeah. The hairdresser in our group, And so just calling to see what I can do for them. How can I be there for you? What can I do? How can I help you? That's it.
That's a perfect call in itself. Just checking on people and showing them that you care. I think that's a big deal, and not pushing real estate right now unless they come out with a real estate need, and we're all in it together right now. So it's tough.
Hi, I just wanted to say, Kristen, I'm doing the same thing, and it's the same response over here. And they're just really happy to hear someone's voice and someone reaching out to them. So I'm just making a goal to call about 15 people a day, starting with my clients, and then going through my whole open house rosters, everything. And then I follow everyone up with a note, handwritten note. It's still the old-fashioned way. They still love that. So, and it's kind of therapeutic to write them also. So I think some of that old-fashioned touch is really important, voice and a note. So I'm right with you there.
My new motto has become, in fact, I put it on my computer screen today, people over profits. I think that is where we all need to be right now.
You know, what's really interesting is that we have BNI, right? We have this connectivity and something that's normal for all of us to go to each week, right? And if you talk to a lot of business owners, they don't have these regular engaged meetings or people that they can lean on in these social networks and whatever have you. So they're feeling a little isolated. And most of the time when you make a phone call and just check on somebody, they're so excited just to hear from somebody. And even if it's just that you care, that's it. And most likely they're going to ask you about other things that are going on in real estate and everything that goes with it. But at least that touch and making sure that people are first, I think that's huge.
Hey, Brad, this is James Seelig from Houston and Galveston.
Hey, James.
Hey, one other thing, I do a business mixer every couple of months, and I was supposed to have one Wednesday night. Didn't happen. But I've got a big group. I'm gonna have to break them down, but I'm gonna do Zoom business mixers to keep all these people. Some are in my BNI group. A lot of them are not in my BNI group. They're just people I know through my work in the community, and just trying to keep them engaged with each other as well to kind of expand the base of people helping each other.
I think it's great. And we also had, I mean, James, maybe to add to what you have, I don't know if you're on our last call, there's several people doing happy hours with their BNI members, with their business relationships, and it just takes a different dimension. They're doing them all through Zoom. There's another app that's out there called Happy Hour.
Ooh, I like
to
that.
have on a different level. Eric Workman was in our last one, and he mentioned there was a great opportunity for him to guide conversation and come with two major topics, right? How do you cut expenses in this market? And I think the other one was, what are you doing to reach out? So just great ways to engage with others and have those conversations via virtual happy hours.
Hi guys, this is Tamara Van Cray. I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'm with Keller Williams of the Fox Cities. And one of the things that we're going to start doing, we had to cancel, we have a buyer consultation snack and chat that we do every month on the third Tuesday in the evening, so that buyers can come and just get really informed about how to get started in the process. And we canceled the one last week due to what's been going on, but we just discussed, my assistant and I, that we're going to start doing it live via Zoom. Invite people to participate. Since they're at home anyway, why not take the time to get educated? And I think this is really creating an opportunity for us to engage with people in a different way, which, not that we don't have enough multiple different ways to communicate, but again, it just gives us an opportunity to think outside of the box and how we can reach people and support people and show them that we can continue life as almost normal with just a slight adaptation. 2 cents.
That's wonderful.
Hey, Brad,
You might get more on your actual Zoom calls than you do in person.
Possibly.
Pete, go ahead.
Hey everyone, Pete Cullen here in Santa Cruz, Bailey Properties, and we're a fairly new chapter. I founded Santa Cruz Business Builders about a year ago. January, we had an amazing year. We grew our chapter to almost 30 members. I'm in the funny position of actually terming out as president. So we're in this transition of a new president, new leadership team, and then in conjunction with that, figuring out the Zoom platform and everything else. But first of all, Brad, I want to thank you for putting this together. I was actually in the process of putting together like a giant Bay Area BNI referral realtor mixer when all this went down. So I'm trying to figure that out and probably follow this same template and do the Zoom meeting. But I just think, the community that we all have here, it's amazing. And we just need to be a resource, and we just need to, everybody that's calling through their database and talking to everybody, that's what we need to do. So anyways, thank you all.
Are you all having a virtual meeting with your, oh, sorry, Jane, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say one thing that our group also does, it's we don't have the happy hour set up on Zoom or anything, but we have, and many of you probably already have this, the WhatsApp. We have one for WhatsApp for our BNI group as business, like reminders, things like that. And then we also have the BNI Fun Group, which is our members when we are sharing personal things, things that we need, social things, jokes, funnies, things like that. So that gives you a little sense of humor throughout every day with all this, you know, memes posted, things like that. So that's kind of a fun way to stay connected and keep people smiling as well, the WhatsApp.
What was that you, oh, so WhatsApp is what you use? For
Yeah, so we have a business BNI, our business group, and then we also have just for fun messages to keep it lighter. So keeps us entertained sometimes when we need it.
You know what? Just thinking or hearing some of the ideas from this group, we're talking about Zooms and reaching out to people. Our BNI is a member of the Chamber of Commerce in town, and she was kind of struggling. The executive director was struggling with how to stay in touch with her folks. So she had never used Zoom, and I went down there. Actually, we just scheduled a Zoom, and she was very easy to train on it. And so I'm just thinking to myself, and she's been very proactive about supporting local businesses, especially restaurants. I'm wondering whether it might not be a bad idea to reach out and maybe do some kind of a joint thing, because you know you probably know, BNIs and chambers of commerce really do dovetail very, very nicely together. You know, the one can help the other and vice versa. So good idea from all of you all. Thank you.
Love it.
Brad, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you, Sam.
All right, cool. I switched a couple of settings on there. So Sam Eckerson, Orlando, Florida, formerly from Minneapolis, Minnesota, where I was a BNI president there, switched here, launched a chapter here. Second term as president that I was voted here. So what I tell my chapter a lot is that as human beings, we're meant to do life together. And I think in this season, I think that's very important, that it looks digital now than in person, or we might get arrested. But it is very important to do life together and do these meetings just for the sake of that, just doing it just because we're human, and still keep that humanness in it. And people can tell, I think clients and people can tell that if you're doing calls just to do calls, oh, I got my goal done, I got 15, 20, 30, whatever today, it's just another notch in my belt, got it done. People can tell if they're just a product or if you're actually treating them like a person. And I think that's really huge. People can really tell that. And I'm the type of person, I'm so relational that I would rather have one meaningful conversation than 15, like, okay, you're doing good. Okay, yep, done, hang up, got my quota. I'd rather have meaningful conversations where I had a past client who's going through hard times. His wife passed away a year and a half ago, and just asking how he was doing, if I could pray for anything. And he said actually could. He was actually dealing with a different illness during this time, and he's been in his house, stuck in his house for like a week, hasn't left at all. And that opened up a conversation for a previous client, and this person has turned into like one of my best referral partners. And I think people can really tell that if it's just a person or just a process just to get it done. And so that's, excuse me, something I've done to really differentiate myself, that I truly do care, that my texts are, okay, aside of real estate, how can I add value? How can I help? How can we do life together? How are your kids doing? And I don't have real estate conversations like Brad said, unless they lead to that. If they do, I'm not going to say no, obviously. But I think you can, in networking, some people are remembered for the wrong reasons, that, oh, it just, somebody knows everybody, but I want to be the person who adds value. And so that's where I'm trying to do things strategically with that, where I stand out and really treating people as a person and still have that humanness and not just go digital just for digital sake, but still, trying to connect. So those are a couple of thoughts that I've been trying to do.
Great. Very good. Chris, what do you got for us?
Hey, Chris Harrow in Hilton Head. What Sam was saying about how meaningful those interactions are. Yesterday I had such a meaningful conversation with a listing client of mine. She's an older lady in her 90s. It was her birthday, and I was screaming at her from outside her window because she's been in her house, for over a week now. It was her birthday, so I brought her like a can of soup and some crackers, right? But I was standing there outside her window because when I came to drop off the, just a little can of soup and crackers, a couple of her neighbors had actually put more birthday presents like on her mailbox, like tied it with like the same like Ziploc bags that, hazmat, stuff that the soup was wrapped in. So I come to her window with all this armful of stuff. She's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so great." And I was like, "No, this little thing is mine. These are all your neighbors." But it was so cool to see how many people just on her street were caring about her. But she hadn't gone outside to see. It was like right there on her mailbox. So I was like the birthday gift courier, and it was very meaningful for me, just to. I never thought I'd be screaming at a client through her kitchen window.
Very nice. That's a really nice extra thing to do too, and deliver something. We're seeing all these stories online of people sharing and coming to people's windows to visit. So that's a nice extra thing to do.
Are any of
the other thing I throw? Sorry, real quick. The other thing I throw out regarding giving value to your chapter members, I contacted my chapter members here in Hilton Head like 2 weeks ago, because our meeting schedule changed. And 2 weeks ago, the responses were, "Yeah, I'm good, and then I called them, a few of them again, and the I'm good turned into, "Yeah, okay, I know, I'll need some help with how to set up this virtual meeting." And then like in a matter of the last couple of days, that's turned into like someone else said, like, "Okay, what am I going to do for my business?" So it kind of dawned upon me how much more important it is not to just connect once, but like multiple times, even with the chapter members, how quickly those needs will change.
My question to y'all is, are you experiencing an uptick in your business as a result of the coronavirus pandemic? Are people panicking over, are we going to be able to get into the house, make that purchase? Or, hey, we got our house sold, but now we have to find one. Are any of you experiencing that? Because I'm personally experiencing, I'm slammed and just wondering what's going on everywhere else. Now, Wisconsin, we're a little bit slower to react than the rest of the world when it comes to things like this. So that could be part of it.
Wayne?
Hi, Elaine Sisman, South Beach BNI. We're in Miami. I'm sure we're about to go through total lockdown. I've been isolating. Sorry about the no hair and makeup, but I did want to attend the meeting. We had our first Zoom meeting last week for BNI South Beach. It worked out really well. We actually had visitors and we had an application, which we've been looking to continue to grow our chapter. So that was great. And I've invited a bunch of visitors who are isolating and may not have any opportunities for good networking. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow morning. I will say that we've been very careful about following up with each other. I just had a text from a mediation person in my chapter. We closed, it was my buyer and my seller last Friday, and to the woman who asked about panic, there was a lot of panic going on trying to get that deal done and put to bed before everybody, all the attorneys went on lockdown. But it's all doable. I took another listing last night. We'll see how that works out. Basically, we're continuing to support each other via our WhatsApp, and also the Women's Sphere is going to have a happy hour so that we can relax and unwind a little bit together tomorrow evening. When we live Givers Gain, it's a good opportunity to share that with our clients and my internet connection is with our clients, and hopefully you can hear me okay. Because I think everybody, it's human nature, everybody wants to help, and you can find opportunities for people who are feeling down or feeling too alone to figure out creatively with them how they might help, whether it be sewing masks or this sort of thing going forward. So, but most important of all, we have one WhatsApp group for the entire chapter, and there we're finding a lot of support as well as some laughs.
Great, thanks, Elaine. I know Delinda had raised her hand. I didn't know you could do that in Zoom, so thank you for teaching me something today. Delinda,
Happy to help. All right, so Delinda Crampton, Berkshire Hathaway out in Las Vegas, Nevada. And one of the things that I've been doing is just seriously leaning into relationships right now. You know, as some of you have kind of touched on, and now is not the time to be talking real estate unless they bring it up. You know, half the time they bring it up because they want to know what's going on. But so starting a couple of weeks ago, I was giving out what I called a coronavirus care kit. I had some leftover cold and flu kits that I give over the winter season to clients. And so it had like some packets of emergency and some cough drops, the little hand sanitizer. And when I would give it to people, I'd be like, okay, here's the coveted hand sanitizer you can't even get anymore online. The purse Kleenex, chamomile tea, that kind of stuff. And they were so appreciative of that. And one of the things that I'm doing now too, besides a ton of personal phone calls, is sending videos out. So every few days I'm sending like helpful information, such as a few days ago I sent out like, here's where you can still pick up a test kit where they're doing drive-throughs. And I'm shooting one today that's talking about, you know, some of the stuff that the acts that Trump has signed, along with talking about the drop in interest rates, talking about the extension to July 15th for tax deadline. And then I'm also sharing that on Friday, I'm going to do a Fun Friday Zoom that will give parents who have all their kids home now a break for an hour, and the kids can come online with me, and I'll let them all share with each other what they're doing to keep busy. And then I'll probably have some kind of like craft or activity. I'll probably do some exercise time. Maybe I'll read a story to them or something like that. It's something just kind of fun, keep the kids engaged, but I'm always looking at how can I provide value. And in my first video I sent out a few days ago, I said, you know, well, all these businesses are sending out videos about me, and here's what we're doing. I want to focus on you and information that is helpful to you. Also talked about, you know, like take this time, not only enjoy your family, maybe you declutter in your home, just kind of, if you guys can get the idea, just kind of like helpful information, helpful tips. And then I'm going to get to the personal notes thing too, but right now I'm just like focusing on call. Calling through my A+s and then working to my A's and business relationships and all that. So.
Thanks, Delinda. And Tamara, I wanted to point something out. You had asked a question and I wanted to go a little bit deeper on that. In California, we have experienced, you know, an order across the state that we're not to do any more showings, that we haven't stopped recordings or anything else. And if you're behind us, one thing that we did was we made sure we got in whatever we could ahead of this lockdown order. And then the second piece is you're still going to have people that are homeless or transitioning in between one house to another. So those are still happening. We just sold one off market through a 3D Matterport. We've got, you know, 3 or 4 buyers that are still waiting to close escrow. So we're definitely, I wouldn't say we're seeing a huge tick up in business. We definitely have some panic sellers, some panic buyers. Stay focused on everything right now, because as it changes and each state starts to go through this, I don't think this is over. I think you're going to see it soon.
Our governor has indicated that today is our lockdown this evening for non-essential businesses. So I did just write an offer this afternoon on a property that wasn't going to be shown until Wednesday, and wrote in subject to buyer being able to walk through the property tonight by 8 p.m. I just asked them, do you want to write an offer sight unseen and see where it goes? Yeah. So again, we're getting really creative in all the different ways that we can approach this, but it's going to be interesting. I have somebody who wants me to come out to their house on Wednesday for a listing, and we'll see.
Zoom, let them walk you through it. Use Zoom.
And I've been through the house, so that's an easy one, but it's just a matter of I think I could get them to do the video for me and put it out there so we can, that's one of the things we're doing here is talking about having the sellers take the video of their property and continue to market those homes with the videos that the sellers are taking. So any other suggestions or creative ideas that way would be really helpful. I might even have them just do the photos for me too, and whatever we can do to get them on the market.
I think that's great. Just keep after it.
Hey, Brad, I'm up here in Northern California. SDSU graduate. It's down in your area. Love that area. Hey, and I think part of it is like everybody's kind of saying, just we're in this thing for about a week now when we've been told to stay in our houses. So I'm limiting my time out in the trade. I'm not stopping it. We are, you know, if you think about the businesses that are open, lenders are working, title companies are working, construction's working. I mean, the housing industry is moving forward. So we don't participate and we don't continue to do our job, all those industries are going to dry up ultimately, and we don't want that. So a perfect example is I put on Saturday morning, I made one run, all the things I had to do out, pick up lock boxes, put a lockbox on. So the listing I have coming up this week, put a combo box on there, put the super box on there. So now the stager can access it. She's still working, some aren't. My videographer can go do his 3D Matterport thing. I don't have to physically be there. The home is vacant, so we have no worries about showing. Brad also, well, to everybody, one of the things that our MLSs just did effective Saturday morning was they took show instructions off of the MLS input. So we can no longer say how to actually show the property. So I'm going to be inundated on, hey, how do I show it? It's going to be interesting to see if I put it in confidential remarks, if I'm going to get dinged on it because it's new. But ultimately, it's kind of how do you just work smarter in this current environment as far as who is, you know, is the business dropping off? I went to a listing appointment that's here. They said they were going to hold off a couple of weeks, which is ultimately going to be a couple of months. But I've had 3 other listing appointments. They're like, let's go, we're done. Let's get it on the market. So, I mean, life has to go on. We're just trying to figure out how to best tweak our business to help continue to support everybody.
Yeah. Brad, may I say something?
Sure, Robin, go ahead.
Okay. I'm Robin Garish. I'm with Crylike Real Estate here in Northern Alabama. And I learned about new technology from one of my other BNI members who's with Fallara. It has actually been picked up by PBS, Public Broadcasting Station. It is from the space station. So part of this technology, and what I'm going to start branding myself as is the new generation real estate agent. One of the technologies that came from the space station and is now available to the public and will soon be broadcasted, like I say, from PBS, is a personal air unit. It actually kills all the bacteria coming from my breath, but also from 3 feet around me. So I'm going to start publicizing myself as the agent who cannot give someone the virus because I am protected by this and they are also protected. There's another unit. And like I said, this is in the Pentagon. This is in Washington Monument. This is in the NASA Hall of Fame. This is in the space station. So I'm going to advertise this to Crylike, saying we're going to be the new generation of realtors who we can put these units in our house. They actually kill the N1, R1, Mars, SARS, all these things within 2 hours. The new one coming out actually kills black mold within 15 minutes. So I am able to put the larger unit into my listings, and within 2 hours of the older unit, there's no bacteria, the stinky smell, sometimes they smoke, sometimes they have pets, all that is gone and it smells like nature. So this is technology from the space station, and I live in Alabama, which is NASA's area. But I think all realtors, we can stand up and say, yes, I am protecting you, I'm protecting my car, I'm protecting my house. There is no bacteria on any hard surface. It makes your home, your car, just like surgical operating room. You cannot touch all the surfaces, but this unit through positive ions kills the bacteria. So this is something I learned from one of my BNI members. I love it. My grandbaby had eczema so bad she couldn't open her hands. Her was split with blood and she got MRSA. Within 2 months, she was healed. And all the specialists from Nashville and other areas could not heal her. So we're hearing the president talk about new technology coming out. So Mr. Urso with Fallara is talking to the president. This is going to be one of the new technologies. And I would love for all my BNI realtors, because y'all are amazing. You're not one of the people out there to make money. You're out there to protect the public. You're out there to take this to another level. Let's show how
This would be a great gift for you to give to at your closings. Give each one of your clients a personal mobile unit, protect 3 feet around them. Nobody's wearing a mask. We're going to be protected. And that's because we care.
That's great, Robin. Would you drop that website link into our chat box? We've got quite a few people asking about it, so go ahead and drop that in there so everybody can see it.
Yes, I'd be glad to.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
Good. Thomas, I know you've been waiting patiently. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so I'm up here in New Jersey, so we follow suit for everything that happens in New York. So one of the things that are happening to us is that because we need certificate of occupancy inspection and fire inspection to close all our deals, a lot of the deals are just getting pushed off back months and months now, because most of our towns in New Jersey have 2 inspectors, and they're usually doing anywhere from 15 to 30 deals, 30 properties a day. And now that they're not doing it because they all closed. So we're in this dilemma now where even if we could get deals under contract, we could get the mortgage brokers to do what they have to do and the title company. Now the towns are the ones that are going to be holding us up. So I'm leaning more now towards investors, because my investors in the area will still do the deals without CO. And a lot of the investors are using hard money lenders who don't really require the CO the same way traditional conventional mortgages will. So we're in a little bit of a dilemma up here on the residential side. I have a couple of deals that died already, and a couple of my listings that will just sit on the market now because people just don't want to come out.
Interesting. That's a good pivot, though, if you're looking at avoiding that occupancy certificate. We don't have those in California, at least in my neck of the woods, but certainly a good way to readjust. Trish?
Thomas, if I can help you a little bit on this. I'm on the board of directors at the South Shore Association of Realtors down in Massachusetts. And you need to press your board to follow the regulations, because Rhode Island did it and Massachusetts did it. And as a result, Charlie Baker, he's amended a law, as has Rhode Island. I am sure New Jersey will follow suit if the realtors get together. MAR, Massachusetts Association of Realtors, and NAR, National Association of Realtors, stood right behind us and listened to us. So get in touch with your board of directors, and they will change that. We had it changed within a week. It was done, and anybody with a certificate of occupancy, make sure, if you have that requirement, please make sure that you reach out to your board of directors, because even though it's not an emergency to the towns and the cities, it's an emergency to the realtors.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got a lot of comments in the chat box about coronavirus addendums that are coming out in all the different states. I don't know that they've hit every state so far. I know we have one in California right away, and some of the other states of the force majeure extension, like an automatic extension. Teresa has one that she's holding up in the air. We're reviewing it now. So those are definitely coming up. We're seeing them board wide. I know my broker is not a big fan, but it's something that we're certainly seeing other sides push on. And as we're putting things into escrow, we're putting them into contracts. So anyone having experience with that so far? I know they're brand new. So anyone having that experience?
Up in New Jersey, we have the addendum also, and our broker is actually making the buyer and the seller, before even entering a home, sign the addendum to make sure that everybody is aware of the situation. And we're only allowed to have, as of today, because yesterday we weren't allowed to have open houses, but as of today, the governor changed it where we have one person allowed in the home at a time, and the homeowner has to leave the home in order for us to do a showing there, at least just go outside. And then on an open house, if it's a vacant one, it's still only one person at a time with one realtor.
So I'm just going to throw this out there because I'm a very optimistic person and I just want to share it with you all. My first thought when this was all happening is, this is God's way of telling us all we need to slow down a little bit. And what's wrong with a little 30-day vacation? let's all go on holiday. It looks like Portland's already shut down for business. They can't keep going, but we have to be creative, but we also have to stay very positive, and we have to encourage those within our circles to stay positive so that we don't have we're one of the forefronts of the economy. Real estate, the real estate industry really drives our economy. And if we don't stay positive and continue to look for new ways to help people be prepared when things do open up again, to be really prepared for that, we could see some pretty significant backlash. So let's stay super positive.
Love it. So I'm going to shift directions just a little bit and see if we can get the same thing going that we saw in our last Zoom conference. Is there anybody out there looking for agents in other areas for a relocation? Maybe somebody that you have right now in an outbound referral. Anyone have anything that they're looking for an agent in a different market? Gosh, it was so easy last time. Anyone?
Yes, I am looking for somebody in San Jose.
Okay.
Actually, I'm still looking for Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Okay.
I'm looking for a rental agent in Peachtree City, Florida, or Noonan. I have somebody moving from Arkansas, and they need a rental in those two areas. They have a dog.
Anyone else? Okay, great. That was quick and fast. Love it. So my intention is to continue to do these and keep them to about an hour. So we're going to continue to do these twice a week. And anyone who wants to jump on the calls, it'll be an evolving conversation as we continue to move forward. And then we're going to do recaps on each of them. So stay tuned on that. I'm also going to remind everybody, if you're not a part of our Facebook networking group yet, at the very top of the chat window, and I'll see if I can copy and paste it one more time, make sure that you go to the Facebook group and sign in there. There's outbound referrals that are being placed, people sharing their ideas as to what's going on in these Zoom conferences, lots of great opportunities in there. So I appreciate you all joining that. Anyone have anything else that they're doing BNI specific? What do you have BNI specific that we're doing this week? Mac?
Well, one thing, we were talking about how to support our chapter members, and I realized last week I had 4 open gift certificates, closing gifts, 2 for photographers and 2 for a couple of other things. And I pinged those clients and said, hey, now's a good time to schedule. I'm picking up the tab, so might as well do it sometime. Why not now?
Our group immediately started sending out emails to support any of those small businesses with buying certificates for the restaurants or the massage therapists, any of those people who couldn't be active and need that support. So that was definitely something going around. And then we also have our window washing guy who's out there talking to all of his senior clients, asking them if there's anything that they need, offering to run and pick up those items and deliver for free. The client or the client needs to pay for the products, but that they'll do the running and service for free. So that's just another really great way. Our group is super powerful. We're about 45 strong and just a lot of really dynamic business people.
I love having the point person out there looking for people that need help. So we've asked for it and we're trying to identify anybody that's out there. But if you have somebody that's window washing that knows and can see it in the field, that's great.
I'll also make one more comment if that's okay. My group is very charitable minded. We do a charity a month and usually it's very successful. And this is a good time for everybody to sort of review what your group is doing as a group, as a charity. And I'm sure we'll be doing that tomorrow morning when we meet again. Thank you.
Great. You know, it's interesting. I feel like there's a lot of people in our chapters that are not going to raise their hand for help. And we're seeing that now. And in our last call, we did a lot of searching on how can we identify the people that are in our chapters that won't ask for it? Because it exists, and it's just the beginning, right? We're watching in California as the 5th of this month hits and people can't make their rent. And the homeowners that are gonna have issues with not receiving rent payments. And not everything's been implemented yet to help protect those people from the federal government or even statewide. And they don't even know what's hit them yet. So I'd encourage everyone to really find the people that aren't going to ask for help, that really need it, and really have those personal conversations and be serious. I mean, have real conversations about where they are. Because I think you're gonna see people won't ask, but they're gonna be in a lot of hurt here in the next 30 days. So that's one thing
Brad,
that
on
we're
that
staying
one?
focused on.
Brad, on that one, if you call your people in your group and you ask them as a third party person and say, hey, who do you know that might need some help? And then at the end of it, kind of say, and how are you doing? Because they're already thinking about other people that need help. And then when you circle back to them, I find they are much more open to, wow, I might be one of them.
That's great. I like that.
It's easy to guess, though. Anybody who's been shut down, I'm looking at the roster here. A lot of my health and wellness people have been shut down. They can't see people, right? Because we have the 6-foot distance things going on. They're pretty easy, I think, to reach out to because they're home and they're not working virtually. They're not working.
Brad, this is Dave Duncan in Kansas City. And one of the things that I decided to do, I have a home cleaner in my group. I also have a massage therapist in my group. And these are people that I already budget money for. And whether I get their service or not, what's the difference? If I have them in my budget, I simply send them the money anyway. So, and not necessarily a check, but rather just put the cash in an envelope, and it's not going to kill me. I've already spent the money as far as I'm concerned anyway, but it keeps them afloat. You know, it's something easy to do.
That's great, Dave. I love that. Love it.
Hey, could I ask a general question to the group? I have someone that wants to list a property. I have a photographer scheduled in 3 days, and I don't know what to tell him. Kansas City's going on a kind of a stay-at-home kind of a situation. I can't picture buyers agents being out there. There are a few that may take people out, but I hate to say it, I don't know whether to take the listing or not. Some of you will say, oh, of course I'm nuts. Why not take the listing? But I honestly don't know. I don't know what kind of job I'm going to do for them. I don't know the point of it.
Number one, take the listing.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
take the listing, take as many as you can. And even if that defers into later timeline of coming on the market, take the listing.
Okay.
What we see in our market, like we had this lockdown happen, we found creative ways to push it out there and to interact with other agents and to market the property that it sold. We just did one this past weekend. So you'll be surprised, even though there's lockdown out there, you'll be surprised at the needs that are out there of buyers. Do not hesitate to take those listings. Just think through creatively, how can you support them in a different way today?
Okay.
Brad, we see that a lot with being a very large military area. We've got people coming all the time from other parts of the country, and they're seeing places sight unseen. Right now, they've got a 60-day DOD order that they can't be moving anywhere. That they can't go. There's a lot of people that are tied into the contract right now, but there's people that's coming, and so we're lucky in that we're always seeing that. I think people will find a way if they still want to buy. If you've got the listing, just find new ways. Do your Matterport, we've got people that do videos for us when they're taking photos. I got a listing coming later this week that's going to be the photos are going to be done tomorrow. Add those things and put up your virtual tours so that they can be able to see it, and the buyers will still be there. It's just a matter of they're thinking through, just like we are, how are they going to deal with it, and they'll find the new normal for them in terms of buying a house.
So Jerry, you just reminded me of something that I'll kick in here. For every person that lists a house and tries to put it on the market today, I think you have 1 or 2 behind them that aren't on the market yet. And that you can take those listings and hang on to in preparation for when this kind of clears up. But I think the inventory that's going to come behind this will be a snowball, and people wanting to get things on the market once things clear up. So there's a whole bunch of work behind the scenes that's taking place. I mean, Virginia Beach is one of them, San Diego is another, that these military buyers and sellers are going to need to do something, and it's going to happen fast once the order is lifted. But it's also going to happen in areas that aren't military focused. So, I mean, take the listings that you can, educate them, and we're just talking with higher frequency to all of our buyers and sellers. I mean, I'm talking to my sellers right now 3 times a day, because something's always changing. There's always something that's going on in their head or in the buyer's head that we're dealing with. So it's just increasing frequency of communication with your database, as well as those that are actively looking to buy or sell.
Yeah. Hey, Brad, I agree. I think that I've had a lot of clients asking if they should take their house off the market. And I've sort of, this Sherry Nixon, by the way, Hilton Head Island, I've said that I feel there's so many people that are just pent up in their houses that are looking on Zillow. And if you take it off, you're going to miss that opportunity. Maybe they're not going to buy now, but they're going to be looking. And so I've encouraged them not to take it off the market. And then also I've done some creative things to keep deals together. I have someone in a retirement community and they didn't want to move out. And so I had my client go ahead and buy the house and let the guy rent it back, you know, just to make sure the deal didn't fall through. And then, you know, I've had another deal where it was just, we let the person do a 6-month close date, and we're going to just increase their earnest money by $10,000 every month, and just to keep them in the deal. So there's some creative ways to keep them in the deal.
That's super creative. Outside the box. I like it, Sherry.
Yeah.
So I see a comment here. Zillow and Redfin have both stopped their iBuyer campaign and brought it to a halt. And that could bring opportunity. It also is a sign of what's going on right now. We're competing for one right now where Redfin's looking to buy the house, and they're going to back off completely. And now they have a vacant home and two home payments. What are you guys seeing in your market, and how can we take advantage of this?
Even if you do not have, or you have a buyer, you can call your seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, if you'll step out, I will come through and do a virtual, like a Facebook Live video with those buyers. Then that way you're still representing your buyer. So they can say to you, hey, Lindsay, will you go and look at the backyard? Will you go to the pantry? Will you go to the kitchen? And you can kind of get an eye on that property as your buyers are on the other line with you, you know, so it's not like they're going in and purchasing that property blind with you not even laying your eyes on that property. I've got 2 under contract this week from doing simply that alone. Now they will come back and they will meet with the inspector, but there's nothing crazy going on with that property that I've seen with my eyes. You know, I always make sure I tell them that, hey, I didn't see anything crazy, but I don't know what an inspector is going to find. Now, we're not 100% shut down yet, so we can still, you know, make appointments and go to properties, and sellers feel better about, hey, I'm going to show your property, but 5 people's not coming with me. It's just me, you know, or just have your buyer come with only 1 person, you know what I mean? And that way it limits the people that are going through sellers' homes, and they seem to like that better here where I'm at.
Great. Very good. Is there anybody else that's experiencing the iBuyer or dealing with iBuyer programs that are out there? And I'll redirect that question back to really cash flippers and people who are buying from the Zillow sites or as Zillow in their market. Because that's a big component in our market. It's definitely infiltrated here. And I know other people, it's hit, and some people it hasn't. I think that's my hour is up.
Can I just add that, and if you're not in an area that is being shut down, you should know that we weren't shut down before we were shut down. And the most important thing is that we stay safe and we keep our community safe. And please, just get the word out. We're not trying to get people to dive into crowded situations for as long as they can before being shut down. We're trying to keep our distance. We're trying to take excessive safety precautions to keep everybody safe, because more important than getting the house sold is staying alive. End of story.
I mean, that point that resonates real closely with me. I think that's a great thing to end on. Let's keep it up and make sure we're watching our communities really close, making sure we're taking care of people first and not our real estate sales, and it will all come back around to us. So in the interest of time, it's 2 o'clock. I appreciate everybody hopping on here. I'm going to schedule our next couple coming up, so you'll get notifications from me. Make sure you're in the Facebook group. That's the easiest place to get the info. And if you have anything at all, just reach out. You can contact me directly or post it up in the Facebook group. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Brad.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Brad. Thank
Can you post the Facebook information?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll leave this
Thanks,
open. If
everybody.
anybody wants the Facebook information, I'll repost it right now for you. Oh. Go ahead and copy and paste that link, and you can pop into the other room or into your browser and just sign yourself up. One thing before you go, when you sign yourself up, please don't do it as your business page because we're experiencing difficulty. You won't see the notifications. So make sure you do it as your own personal page, not your business page, so we can get to know you better and actually you can engage in the group. Okay, so I see somebody's pending. Jessica, it's most likely because you're a business page and I haven't been able to reach out to you. So just take a look again and see if you're in there as your personal page. All right, everybody got it before I end? Pete's still writing. I'll give you a minute. All right, guys, thanks so much for being on the call. We'll talk to you soon.